Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to the 11th Annual Women of Valor. I'm Todd Salovey, the Associate Artistic Director of San Diego Repertory Theater and the Artistic Director of the Lipinsky Family San Diego Jewish Arts Festival.
My name is Ali Viterbi, and I'm the Associate Producer of the festival and the Director and Co-Writer of this year's Women of Valor.
Every year, we donate all the ticket proceeds of Women of Valor to Jewish charities in San Diego. This year, our beneficiaries are the 3 Jewish high schools, as well as the San Diego Jewish Community COVID-19 Emergency Fund. You can donate generously by clicking on the link at the end of this video.
This year's honorees teach us how we can be together, even virtually, in community. And we hope that through hearing their stories of joy, of grief, of commitment to their community, and of courage, we can all weather this storm together.
Tonight, we honor Janet Acheatel. Thank you so much for watching, and please enjoy A Woman of Valor.
Acheatel miimsa verachat mipninim mikra batach balev bala veshala lo yetzar gimla tuto velora kol yemei hayecha darshat semer ufishtim vetat bechefetz gaveha hai sakani otzocher mimerchak tavilachma chagra ve'oz matneha vate'amet zerateha.
A woman of valor, who shall find?
She is more precious than pearls.
She seeks out wool and flax and cheerfully does the work of her hands.
She is like trading ships, bringing food from afar.
She gets up while it is still night to provide for her household.
She invests herself with strength, and her arms are powerful.
She opens up her hands to the poor and reaches out to the needy.
Acheatel miimsa, a woman of valor, who shall find?
If there was somebody in my life I would put on a pedestal, it would be my mother. My mom was a nurse. When I was a teenager, she went back to school to get her registered nursing degree. It was hard on the family, seeing her work and go to school full-time, get through all that, and she never complained. She died at 91 years old, riddled with arthritis, diabetes, and if you asked her right up until the day she died, what would you change? I wouldn't change a thing. Is there anything I can do for you? Nope. I'm just fine. She never complained. I grew up in an economically modest home. Very modest. We weren't spoiled by a lot of things, but we always took care of each other. Family was very important. We got together with cousins and aunts every Friday night at my grandfather's home and spent the evening together playing cards and games and just being a family. I look at what we didn't have, but I never in my whole life felt hungry. Even if my mother had to make potato soup, we always had food. I never felt. There are children that feel hungry, Jewish children here in San Diego. I never experienced that. I'm first generation to go to college. It wasn't something growing up that we talked about, so it wasn't like it was an expectation. I'm 67, so I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and back then women pretty much had 3 career choices: secretary, nurse, or teacher. I decided to be a teacher. I liked kids. But after a number of years, the walls started closing in on me in the classroom. So I got accepted to a PhD program at Stanford to research multicultural education. But unfortunately, I couldn't come up with the money. You can only imagine how disappointing that was. I was 26 at the time. It made me angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at my parents because they couldn't help. I was angry because I didn't even know who to turn to for help. To have that opportunity and not be able to take advantage of it, that was a game changer for me. I could have gone right back to my job as a teacher, but that wasn't going to put me financially in a position that I thought I needed for this to never happen to my kids. So I started looking at other careers. I just happened to hear that stock brokerage firms were looking for women. I'd been a first grade teacher, and yet I was bold enough to apply for a position at the major Wall Street brokerage firms. And after trying for many months and learning the game, I was accepted into brokerage training program. Without even a business degree or any business background, I got hired. I used to laugh about how I went from wiping the noses and holding the hands of 6-year-olds to holding the hands of 60-year-olds. I really did look at my job that way, because the teaching side of me, whether it was in the classroom or in the office, it was the same skill set, making it a teachable moment. I did that for 7 years as a retail stockbroker, and then I got lucky enough to learn about a job, an institutional money manager. A few years into it, my boss, who was vice president of the company, had an unusual heart condition, and once again, I had the nerve to ask for his position. So that was a huge leap in my career. A lot of luck, a lot of hard work along the way. It all comes down to the idea that opportunity was knocking and I answered the door. It's something that I always try to instill in people I mentor. Sometimes you have to pick up a lot of rocks to uncover something worthwhile. One of my clients that comes to mind was a group of nuns, believe it or not, in upstate New York. They ran an old folks' home for the nuns in their order, and they had the good fortune of one of the nuns' relatives passing on a large amount of money, like hundreds of millions of dollars, to help run this old folks' home for the nuns. And they would always remind me that it wasn't about the money. It was about the quality of life that this money was able to provide for these nuns, many of them well into their 90s. And that always made my job feel so much more important than it really was. It's not about the money. It's about the dreams and the life that they want to live. It's really about that end game. I was fortunate enough when I was 55 to feel like I could retire. But about a year into my retirement, 2 really special men in my life died 10 days apart from each other. My dearest girlfriend's husband passed away, and then my uncle, who had always thought of me like the daughter he never had. I saw firsthand what widowhood was like for women, how difficult it was. It made me realize that I had the compassion to be able to work with them and be tough when I needed to be tough, and I certainly had the financial expertise. It was like this hammer hitting me over the head. Wow, Janet, you could do this with other people. So, on a purely volunteer basis, I told everybody I know, if you've got anybody going through this, have them call me. And believe it or not, they did. A guy by the name of Joe Cohen was on the board of the Jewish Community Foundation. And he started to hear about things in the community, so out of the blue, he called me. He ends up having the firm that I work at now. He brought me in, introduced me to another woman in the office who had a mutual passion of helping women with financial literacy. And it dawned on us, this is a business. We presented it to the partners of the firm. They loved the idea. I thought, maybe 3 years. Women's focus management practice. And it wasn't really being done anywhere. So we launched that first of the year, 2011, and now here I am 9 years later, and I don't think I'm ever going to quit. Look, we created a little video together. here.
What makes Hoyle Cohen special for me, and I think for our clients, is that the people who work here really care. They have passion in so many different ways. Some of us like the numbers, and some of us just like serving, but we have the ability to all come together as a group, as a team, to serve the client. And it's amazingly rewarding at this stage of my career to work with people who really, truly care about our clients.
Sometimes these women come in and they're just so scared. Their shoulders are sagging. So my goal is first to make them feel comfortable and safe and show them that this isn't rocket science. So I meet with women 3, even 4 times before I ever even look at their financial statements. That's not the focus. The focus is, what do you want your life to look like? Then it's how can we make that happen from a financial standpoint? This is my forever job. It's a win-win, a win for me, a win for the firm, and hopefully a win for my clients. My husband and I will be married 40 years this summer. He's been a huge influence on my life. We're not religiously Jewish, but being a part of the Jewish community has been a really important aspect of our lives. One important thing to me in my work in the Jewish community was Hillel. I was on the board of Hillel for a number of years and just came off of the board when I became chair of the Jewish Community Foundation. It's really a pay it forward experience. Because when our oldest daughter was in college at UCSD, she was really struggling with her Judaism. After she had done some exploring and was feeling so unsuccessful with it, she met Rabbi Lisa Goldstein. And she took our daughter Jessica under her wing. They would meet every week, and somewhere along the way, she said to her, "Would you like to make a bat mitzvah?" And Jessica was like, "Really? I don't know all the prayers and everything. How can I do that?" "You'll study with me, and we'll do it." That was so impactful on Jessica. If it weren't for that experience through Hillel, I really wonder if she would have raised her kids the way she is in a Jewish home. So I'm eternally grateful to Hillel. If I can help make that happen for other Jewish families, I will have felt it was worth me being on this earth. You can see I'm a little emotional about it. I'm generally a very happy person, but my mom, she had the ability to stay positive even when things were hard or her body was aching. I wish I had more of that determination. You know, these people that are willing to go into hospitals now and work, I don't know if I could do that, but my mother, she would have been there for those long shifts, as long as it took. Raising my kids, bringing another generation into the world and being able to see them grow up and become people that I'm very, very proud of is a huge accomplishment. It's funny because when they graduate from middle school, you're excited. You feel like, oh, I got them this far. And then they graduate from high school and then college and then they get married and have careers. And there's so many milestones along the way. And finally, of course, having their own children and seeing how much they enjoy being together. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
פניה ישרוה, בלה, ויהללה רבו בנות עשו חיל והטלית על כולנה.
I give this advice to my daughter every day. Push yourself to engage in community.
Don't be afraid to step up. Don't be afraid to chair something or sit on committees that are highly populated by men. I want to see spaces where women are leading.
You shouldn't let the world tell you what you can and can't be. So maybe I couldn't be a rabbi, and maybe people thought I couldn't be an ADL director, but you have to know what you can do.
Don't approach things because you're a woman, but use the great gifts we have as women to your advantage.
Be kind and respectful. You come in, say hello to someone, the old-fashioned way.
Do things that are hard. Step out of your comfort zone. Cry from time to time.
Have confidence that even when you don't have clarity, it doesn't mean that Hashem isn't looking out for you. The clarity part is a gift that we're not always going to have, but it doesn't mean that what we're doing isn't the right thing.
And when you're young, take risks. Because the ability to take risks, to go in directions that are unexpected or scary, that window closes. Take chances now. Because it's easier and freer when you're young.
I want my children and my grandchildren to be proud of who they are and not be afraid to speak up